Got more quick hits,
Yes.
that is. Real Madrid beat Alaves 5-0 as Vinicius scores twice. I think other than Rudiger for Nacho, this was pretty much a lineup that will start the Champions League final, at least if I were in charge, with maybe Tchouaméni in place of Camavinga fit.
Yeah, he's a bit in a race against time, Tchouaméni, with his metatarsal injury to make it. I don't think he will, to be honest. He's still hoping. He's still hopeful. It would be a blow, of course, a loss if he could not make it. But, I think he also has the Euros in the back of his mind, and you don't want to come back and rush it and rush anything. So we will have to see. Very good professional performance from a Real Madrid team that is really flying at the moment. So
2 games to play. Do you play the reserves next weekend?
You mix.
You mix next weekend?
Yeah, you mix it, I think. You mix it. Your starting 11, whether you
have the chemistry anyway.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So,
okay.
Juventus beats Atalanta 1-0 to win the Coppa Italia. Gab, they deserved.
They did. I thought Juventus played really well. They went in there with the right spirit. I thought we saw the best of Vlahovic. And I'll say this about Vlahovic. He's second in Serie A in goals this season. I think he has 16 plus some in the cup.
Yeah, 19 in total, I think.
I mean...
Or 23.
Had a bad start to the season, had his injuries, was caught up in the whole, dire way Juve played. But he's coming on very strong. And he's coming on very strong, I think, and looking really physically right, just in time for the Euro. So watch the space with him. Beyond that, they hit the woodwork with Miretti. Lukman hit the woodwork as well. Should have had a penalty. Should have had, the Kenan Yildiz should have been a red when he gets stomped on. Vlahovic also scored a great goal, which was marginally offside. Yeah, congratulations to Juve.
I mean, Juve scoring early.
It certainly helps.
Helped them, and then they could defend quite.
But I asked myself, look, you played well, you executed well. Why can't you do this all year?
Yeah, Scamacca being suspended for Atalanta was a massive blow.
Paris Saint-Germain beat Nice 2-1, and Mbappe's on the bench. But it's the other Mbappe.
The other.
Ethan, Jules, any truth to the reports in Le Parisien that he has badly fallen out with Nasser Al-Khelaifi, and this kind of is dragging on?
Yeah. So we know there've been a meeting where they met before the Toulouse game. Our ESPN sources said that it was quite an animated conversation, but only a conversation. Le Parisien are saying it's a proper clash. They literally raised their voice and it got pretty bad. Others are a bit in between, or more towards us than the full clash that Le Parisien are reporting.
Le Parisien wrote that the walls were shaking.
Yeah, now, it was really bad.
Okay, but this is a French figure of speech, right? I presume the walls at the Parc des Princes aren't made of cardboard, and Nasser Al-Khelaifi and Kylian Mbappe aren't strong enough.
No, it's just like an image to say that they shouted at each other.
Okay, all right.
Which again, everybody else is reporting something slightly less of importance. So,
but he didn't go to Nice to support his teammates because he has a boo-boo?
Yeah, apparently, he had a little injury. I mean, Luis Enrique said he doesn't want to take any risk now before the French Cup final, which will be in 10 days. So there's one more league game coming up this weekend, of course, in Ligue 1, and then it will be the Cup final. So that's why a lot of the players, and also Luis Enrique was not too happy with the last game against Toulouse, so he left a lot of them at home and played the B team that beat Nice with a great Bradley Barcola, who should be called up by Deschamps and France for the Euros.
This is less of a B team than the team that lost to Toulouse. Right?
Yeah, true.
Right.
True. Back to Juventus, Max Allegri got himself sent off. Gabby, injury time. He took off his tie and threw it and everything. And then he dropped the biggest hint that he would be leaving in the summer. I guess you disapprove.
Yeah, when somebody acts like a complete ass on the sideline, yeah, of course I do. In injury time, when you're ahead 1-0, he took his jacket off, he threw it off, his shirt was all messed up. At one point, he turned around like a wild man. His jaw clenched. Then he said. Then after he got sent off, he called out Rocchi, who's the head of the Italian referees. Afterwards, the all kissed and made up like it was all normal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
What made him so angry?
I think it was the refereeing decisions that went against him. He may have had a point, but when you're 1-0 up, Atalanta can score at any minute, right? It's deep in injury time. Don't get yourself sent off and leave your team without a coach in injury time. Why run the risk like that? He also dropped, he says, he seemed to, he corrected himself. But the way he was talking afterwards made it pretty clear that he's leaving. He also had to run in with the local paper in Turin, accusing them of always taking the club side. John Elkann spoke afterwards, and he kept going back to this theme of, all the young players at the club. My guess is more sales, more young players, definitely less Allegri next year. Certainly that's the impression we're getting. Yeah. This was back on Monday, but Liverpool and Aston Villa battled to a 3-3 draw at Villa Park, which means Villa have now qualified for the Champions League. Some love for Unai Emery and the Villains, please.
Incredible season, Gab. Let's not forget the semi-final of the Conference League too.
They would probably want to forget that semi-final.
But it's still good to finish in the last four of a European competition, back in that top European Cup for 41 years. There's a lot of Villa fans who've never seen them play in the Champions League or the European Cup before.
The last time they were in it was the year after they actually won it.
Yeah,
by the
exactly.
way.
Yeah, so great for that generation. Amazing. They deserve it. They deserve to be in the top four this season. They've been the fourth best team in the league. Really, so amazing work from him and all his team. And again, there's a lot of his people on his staff and in key positions at the club, which is fine with me. Let's see what they do in the summer, if they have to sell before buying, if they can buy, even if they don't sell. Be very interesting, because they also need to strengthen to be good in the Champions League. And next season, as we know, it's a different format. There will be more games for them, and as well keep improving in the league, or at least staying at the same level, that kind of top four level. So big season ahead. 4 wins on the bounce now for Chelsea and Mauricio Pochettino, who beat Brighton 2-1. Gab, away from home. You have to admit, this seemed unthinkable not that long ago.
It definitely was unthinkable. I mean, they might even finish fifth potentially, which is pretty remarkable.
3 points behind Spurs with a game to go and better goal difference.
Yeah, look, it's also that they faced teams that were all kind of imploding late in the season, from Spurs to West Ham. But you still have to beat them. Tremendous header from Cole Palmer.
Yeah.
There's very few things this guy can't do. I do wonder at one point, like, I know it's kind of, nobody talks about it, but City, I think, really regret this one. I think they could have actually really used him.
Maybe, yeah.
At the end, Reece James gets himself sent off. He came off the bench. It's second. He's been sent off already this season. I think it was back in November. Echoes of Lauren James for England in the Women's World Cup, his sister. Yeah, you don't need to see that. You need more calm. It'll happen with younger players, but he's got to be a leader.
My boy and Kunku scoring as well.
And nice to see him back too.
Yeah.
Your boy, Antoine Griezmann, bags a hat-trick as Atletico Madrid romp past Getafe 3-0 with Athletic Bilbao upset by Celta Vigo on Tuesday. It means they're back in the Champions League next season.
Yeah, well done, even if they can probably be a bit disappointed by the season and how it went, and to finish fourth where they are now. It's still that important for them financially to qualify for the Champions League next season. And again, Griezmann, everything's good about them comes from him anyway. Plenty of reports out there in Germany, Gab, that Bayern have changed their mind and want to keep Thomas Tuchel after 99 different managers turned them down in recent days. What do you make of it?
I think it would be an absolute joke and a farce and a freak show if they change their mind.
But Xavi stayed.
We'll see about that. But I think Xavi's a completely different situation than Bayern. Xavi wasn't actually sacked by the club. This is all comes to the fact that his agent, Olaf Meinking, was seen speaking to Max Eberl, the sporting director, and Jan-Christian Driesen, and Christoph Freund at the training ground. I don't know. Maybe they're talking about him clearing out his locker. I don't know. More likely, if this is out there, it could be maybe to turn the screws a little bit on Hansi Flick, who is still in the frame, has not said no yet. But, I mean, this would just be an absolute shock. And I don't know what would warrant it, frankly. Jules, so much Manchester United on the show, but they tell us it drives traffic. So let's have even more. Anthony got a giant tattoo of himself on his back, and then he very cleverly shared it on social media.
Yeah.
Or somebody did. Now, it seems extremely tone deaf and stupid to me, and look, we're both inked. What would it take for you to get a giant tattoo of yourself on your back?
Nothing.
A lobotomy, perhaps?
I thought the rule, or the first rule, or maybe unwritten rule of tattoos, was to never have yourself tattooed on yourself, if you see what I mean.
It's a bit creepy.
It is creepy, I think. And is any like a tattoo of him scoring a goal or celebrating a goal?
No, I think it's a two of him standing, showing off his pecs. In fact, I thought it was Cristiano Ronaldo.
I mean, it's worse anyway. It's bad. I don't know what to say. And he's got plenty of tattoos already, so I don't think he even needed a new one. But hey, if that makes him happy, I'm all for people's happiness. So if that makes him happy, Anthony, if that makes you happy, I'm happy for you. So go ahead. You know, you can also have your dog tattooed on yourself, like, you know, anything you want.
Eric
your
Ten
car,
Hag's face.
Eric Ten Hag's
Since
face.
he made him a rich man. So,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. Jesse Marsch, remember him? He's the new Canada men's national team head coach, Gabby.
And there's a twist here. So first of all, I'll handle Jesse. I think he's a good choice. I think even though he went to Princeton, he is a competent man.
Yeah.
Deserves a shot, and he's going to get a shot, obviously, this summer straight away. And we'll see where he takes it.
A good squad as well.
And a good squad as well, yeah. What I take issue with is that he's not the Canada men's national team head coach. And this is, by the way, the only time I'm going to hear this. He is the MLS Canada men's national team head coach. And the reason he's the MLS Canada men's national team head coach is because apparently the Canadian FA, which is called Canada Soccer, is in bad financial shape. And so to pay Jesse Marsch, they had to get sponsorship. And the three MLS teams in Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal all chipped in, apparently are paying part of his salary. And as part of that, it's like a sponsorship. It's like, you know, it's like the League Cup is called something else. It's called the Carabao Cup, right? So he's the MLS Canada men's national team head coach. The reason this really annoys me, first of all, it's pretty pathetic and cheap from the owners of these three clubs. I'm going to call them out. Joey Saputo in Montreal, who I have a lot of respect for what you're doing in Bologna, not a good choice. Toronto's owned by something called the Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, some faceless corporation of sports executives and nerds. Fine, I don't know who to blame there. Vancouver, one of the owners of Vancouver is Steve Nash, who really should know better.
Yeah.
What, really? You need to promote MLS even more? Maybe because Canada have their own domestic league as well. The Canada Premier League is called something like that. That you need to put it on there. And what are you going to do?
Nobody's never going to mention that anyway.
I'm going to call out any colleague I see who actually calls it the MLS, calls him Jesse Marsch, the MLS Canada men's national team head coach. Anybody, if you do this, you're a tool and you're a loser.
They won't.
It's such a sad, sad way. MLS does not need this. This is so hokey. This is so stupid. And in fact, if I were MLS, for my friend Garber, I think you should go to them and say, guys, cut this out. Just take the MLS off it.
Silly.
We don't need this kind of cheap publicity.